All right, so this is flaw number 16. Columnist says donating items to charity may be a sign of generosity, but any generosity it may demonstrate is rarely a permanent virtue, since most donors make donations only intermittently. So we're trying to figure out what's our flaw here. Before we dive in, we're going to look at our conclusion. Let's look at the premises and then how they, what do we think about this argument? So our main conclusion here is that any generosity it may demonstrate is rarely a permanent value or a permanent virtue. And that's because donors make donations only intermittently. Um, and this first part, they're saying it might be a sign of generosity, but if it is generosity, then it's probably not permanent. And that's because they're only intermittent donations. So our intermittent donations are going to affect our main conclusion that it's rarely permanent. We're really going to look for something that's going to help us attack this conclusion, attack that argument. And you know, what we could do is we can kind of sit and look through our answer choices. And we're going to see what directly impacts that main conclusion that we've got over here, that it's rarely permanent. Okay? A, the argument takes for granted that truly generous people are the most virtuous. We're not talking about the most virtuous or the most virtuous or the most generous. So we're going to take out A. B. The argument attacks the character of those whose values are different from those of the columnist. So they're not actually attacking character, and they're not attacking, other values. So we can eliminate B. C. The argument takes for granted a character trait is present only when manifested. So, this is exactly what's going on in the argument. The argument is saying, character trait is present only when manifested. So people are only generous when they practice the generosity by donating, let's say. But maybe that like they are, they do have generosity at other times, and maybe this is permanent. This was cast some doubt on our main conclusion. So we're really liking C so far. Let's look at the other answer choices to be sure. D, the argument generalizes from too small a sample of cases. Well, we don't really have a sample of cases, and we're not generalizing anything. We don't know what our sample size is. E, the argument takes for granted that most people donate out of generosity. They do acknowledge it said it may be a sign of generosity, but if there is generosity at all, it's rarely permanent. So this actually, this is true, but it's not going to hurt our argument. So we go with C as our answer.